Redevelopment Commission regular meeting November the 26th, 2024. At this time, I'll do roll call. Theresa Baysinger.
Present.
Frank Kessler.
Present.
Mike Schrader.
Present.
John Myers.
Present.
Jill Western.
Here.
And I'm here. Okay, Lakeland Internet.
Well, this is we were hoping Andy was going to jump on for, because I had been emailing him. This just goes back to, hopefully, again, I'll remind you that the Lakeland has, I guess, a way forward of covering pretty much all of the county, except for just a few households that aren't going to be covered by SURF or MediaCom or some of the others. And they want to do a study on these 7 towers they're proposing and make sure that, based off the study, they can actually deliver what they're saying. That study is anywhere from $30,000 to $50,000. 50's on the very high end. They're not thinking that's actually what it might cost. But again,
hang on a second. Andy's on the line now. Can you move up front so that you get picked up better, since I know sometimes it's hard for him to hear when you're remote.
So, Andy, I'm just recapping the Lakeland proposal for their tower study, their feasibility study. And again, if the county moves forward with them, this actually would not, they would not actually bill for this study. They would just absorb that. And so, as we present this to the commissioners and the council next week, I just wanted to know if you were able to see a way forward that, as this certainly would serve the companies and the employees in the TIF, is there a way forward with Indiana code that we could underwrite the study?
Andy?
Andy.
In his opinion, there was. I just wanted to hear him say that. I wouldn't be here today if.
Dale, they do that in phases? Or they just...
I think it's.
It's not phases.
There you go, Andy.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Okay, I was having trouble. I got him now.
So again, the question to you is, what kind of formal agreement or resolution or whatnot can we do as redevelopment with Lakeland, just to kind of be more of a guarantee or underwrite this, knowing that if the county moves forward with a Lakeland proposal, we'd never have to pay for this this study?
Well, I think that the way we would have to do this is the same way we did the school project, in that we would make a determination that this these towers, this service is going to, serve the entire TIF, just like we determined that school training would serve the entire TIF, even though it's not in the TIF. So you can't reimburse the unit under that scenario, so the redevelopment commission would need to enter into the agreement directly with Lakeland.
Okay. And is that something, I mean, Lakeland's ready to start the study. I mean, is that something by next redevelopment we would have something we could review or vote on?
Yeah, we have their agreement, correct?
Yes.
And I mean, we can vote on and approve the agreement if we're. But I guess, is that agreement with the county or the redevelopment commission?
Well, they would probably rewrite it so that
Okay.
would be with redevelopment, because I think as it currently is written, it's with the county.
Yeah, okay, then we could definitely do that by next meeting.
Okay. So I guess then the request and to understand from council or the commission here is, are you in favor? Is that something you would be voting in approval of? And again, if we don't move forward, then it would be paid. If we do, we'd never see this bill.
No, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't, maybe it's just, I'm not quite awake yet this morning, but, so they will go ahead and pay it, and if they don't do the project, we'll reimburse them, or?
Yes. So they're estimating the feasibility study to be somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000.
Okay.
They would just roll that into their entire cost of doing the complete build out. If the county went into an agreement with them for them to then actually install all the equipment and the towers and whatnot, we would never see a bill. If the county for some reason wouldn't, then they want to issue the bill to somebody for the feasibility study. I thought it made sense that redevelopment could do that because it did serve the TIF, and then that way we wouldn't have to ask for, the commissioners or a council for seeded or for ARPA funds or anything like that. Once the study's done, and then if we do want to move forward with them, they are asking for some type of match. And then we would go to probably 3 different avenues, some kind of tax abatement, some kind of seeded, maybe 4, working with the commissioners. Redevelopment might pay the portion as we've looked at before based off some kind of prorated, and then maybe talking with the school system. So really just the request is the redevelopment commission willing to underwrite this up to $55,000 for the feasibility study?
I'm in favor of it.
Yeah, and again, going back to our discussions last time about the schools, I mean, really need it, and how are we gonna have educated employees to work in all of these businesses if we don't have it, as well as work from home opportunities, stuff like that. So I guess I'd be in favor of it as well.
Yeah, as far as an all-encompassing option, they've definitely been the best. And I've looked at all of them, and any opportunities in this one seems to be our best opportunity, and it's locally owned. I mean, I don't know how much more we could ask for.
When it gets Kim coverage too, I think that's what's most important for all
Well,
of us.
yeah,
Kim and
that helps.
Yeah, I agree with you.
My only concern is, though, that I feel we have to protect ourselves too. I mean, to give them all this money up front.
Well, we don't have to give them anything up front. It's not like we're going to write them a check. So I guess, and Andy, I'll work with them to understand, like, how long are they going to wait after the study, and but
Yeah.
they're not asking for a check. This is just they'll do the upfront investment, and if for some reason we didn't go with them, then we would see a bill.
And they can come to our next meeting. They said if we had questions or anything like that, they would come. So I can get them here if you'd like.
So I don't know if we need to vote on that, but I'm hearing we're in favor. I'll work with Mark at Lakeland and have an agreement that actually is written towards this commission, and we'll just handle that next meeting.
Yeah, I think we're all in favor of
Okay.
it. So if we get that, then we can vote on it the next meeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Get
I
it
mean,
on paper.
Yeah.
Right.
I think and maybe this is where Kim's going, or maybe it's not, but I think there needs to be something in it in terms of if they are gonna do the study, and we're, agreeing to, backstop it or whatever, that, there needs to be some time limit. It needs to be done
Yeah, I agree.
next 6 months or
Yep.
some reasonable period of time.
Okay. I'll add that. I'll make sure that's in there. Okay.
Would the commission like to have Lakeland here? Have any
I think
question
it'd be
for him?
nice to talk to them, and certainly we got some
Yeah,
questions.
because
for
we
'em.
did have some coverage questions last time.
Yeah,
So,
Okay.
let them explain, you know, a
That'd
little
be
better
good.
detail
Mhm.
what their proposal's going to be.
Okay. Anything else on
No.
that? Okay, we'll move forward then. We'll go to the projects update. Niedermeyer property?
Niedermeyer, the rezoning request was heard by the Planning Commission at last week's meeting. Got a favorable recommendation, unanimous favorable recommendation, so that should be before the commissioners at their meeting next week, unless for some reason you have to continue it, but we expect it to be before them next week. There was a decent amount of public concern, public comment made about how there is not a specific end user, and that this rezoning was being done basically proactively, I guess. That's what I'm calling it, blindly. I don't know. So they didn't know what to expect and so on. On the other hand, it's been on the plans for 30-some years. So expecting some sort of industrial and commercial would make sense. The biggest single concern, though, I think, was, well, traffic, which we talked about. The other is they don't want SDI, for example, and SDI, heavy industry, being right up against Lincoln Way. And I think that's a reasonable thing, and I don't think we've even contemplated that. So that was, I think, the biggest stated concern out of everything, other than just a general what's going on, timing and so on. And of course, that depends on what you've got going, Dale, and everybody else.
Yeah, Nathan's being, I guess, he's seasoned at this. I'm a little naive. I was shocked at some of the venom from some of the neighbors about this. I mean, you could say, well, you can't be shocked, but I was shocked. Especially some of the reasoning, which was out of left field or nowhere. But two of the neighbors, one of them immediately after came up, and you know, they weren't thrilled about it, but she and her husband were calmly just having a conversation. It's like, well, we might want to sell sooner than later. And then the property owner with the wooded triangle, you know, Brent and I met with him. He just wanted to be open with the communication, and he just said, you know, if you see anything happening, just the sooner you let me know. And he even said that, you know, if the commission wanted to do some kind of appraisals or whatever, and kind of maybe even do an option on his property, he would be up for that. So I thought a couple of the neighbors were, you know, being pretty reasonable.
There were some development concerns as well, drainage and so on, which again, that would be tackled as part of a specific project, so it's difficult to say how it would be tackled and so on. So.
And again, this came on the days after the governor announced the interchange at 700 for SDI, and this property could be kind of key in alleviating some of the traffic issues, but that kind of seemed to go over a few of the people's heads. But I will say, these two gentlemen over here handled it very well.
Let's see, other things with Niedermeyer, you were working with.
I got with Bayman, so Kim and I are gonna get together and figure out a time to meet with him to go out there and do some assessment of some of the personal property, so that we can get an idea of value and whatnot. So that could happen as early as today. We'll get together and call Jim after the meeting and set up a time.
And property maintenance, you were going to.
Yeah, and I haven't done any.
We were going to
No
get
progress on
one
that.
more mowing out there, I think.
Yep. I'm still working on getting another quote, and that's my error not anybody else not getting that.
Any new on the barn?
No, he has sent me some information back. I still think we need to entertain reaching out to some people to see about doing some donation stuff. I think you had talked with,
At the department head meeting, I mentioned it to Todd Geiger with 4-H, and he said optimistically they would be interested, but he would have to run it by the 4-H board. So I think that would be personally my top choice, to keep it in the county and keep it nonprofit. But of course, they've got to have funds to move it and place to put it and so on. So.
Okay, 100 South paving?
I have made progress, but don't have anything physical to present yet. We'll just say that.
We're just supposed to take your word for it.
Yeah. If you want to come look at the corridor model that I've built on the computer, you're welcome to come look at it, but there's no real way to print it off yet.
had you met with REMC about
Yes.
any details on their project? Okay.
I have inspected their stake locations for their new poles in the vicinity of the intersection of 100 South and 300 East, and compared them to our widening concept, and they've made adjustments to make sure they're not going to be impacted.
It's not one of the projects that's on the list, but I'll let it for next time. The gas station that's at 300, that's proposed at 300 and US 30, so south of 100 South, there across from the church. I've mentioned that that's proposed to be a gas station. They're moving forward slowly. They are trying to figure out the best way to serve it with sewer, because the city's not allowing them to tap into the brand new force main, which is to be expected. So they're trying to figure out how best to get the gas station served. Right now it looks like they're going to have to put a lift station in order to pump back to the nearest manhole, which is in front of the Mormon church. That lift station is almost definitely going to have to be sized to cover that entire property, so 30, 50 acres, whatever it may be. So in that, because it's somewhat oversized, I wouldn't be surprised if they start to say, hey, would the Redevelopment Commission help with some of this, because that makes the entire property developable all at once, rather than just their single site. They haven't said that yet, and I haven't volunteered it, but I also, they do know it's in the TIF district, so I wouldn't be surprised if they made some question at some point. On the other hand, if they do have a development plan, that might just be rolled into their overall business model, so not sure.
Schrader, anything on Schrader's?
Nothing. It's kind of potential, but it's months and months out before we'll know anything.
Okay. Rogers Market?
I mean, other than the update they gave last meeting, I continue to submit it. A couple of their leads just came close, but for whatever reason, they didn't end up there, so.
I did get an email from him. He apologized for not being able to be at the last meeting, but he said anytime that we'd want to go take a walkthrough, I can just let him know and he'd be happy to meet us again.
There's not much to see.
No, that's what I kind of told him.
Uh-huh.
So, okay. Larwill?
Yeah.
I got nothing new. We do have, it's not in the TIF district, but it's something happening in Larwill. One of the houses actually along North Street is being remodeled, so there's some investment happening in Larwill. So that's a good sign.
The most disconcerting thing with Larwill is what the Propel study had on handling 5. It was unacceptable, and we're making comments as such. I mean, just don't do anything if that's your solution.
Yeah. Do we want to go through Propel, just the highlights for everybody's
If
sake?
briefly on the highlights, because I think it's kind of important.
Yeah. Generally, the level 3 Propel study, which it is what we expected all along, outlines for different segments of US 30, up to about 5 different packages worth of proposals of upgrades, varying from interstate level freeway down to large arterial. Most of the recommended proposals are somewhere in between. Eastern Whitley County is primarily interstate level freeway. As you go west, it starts to go down. Expressway is the most common one, which would include things like median U-turns, some driveway accesses, right in, right outs, and so on. 700 East, that governor declaration happened after the report was written, so that recommendation is kind of already set. And then into Allen County, that was now excluded from the report too, but it is reflected. State Road 5 is a mishmash of things like a median U-turn.
If I remember right, there are 2 recommended alternatives, including making it a directional intersection, which prohibits left turns from 5 onto 30, and which eliminates straights on 5 through movement. So, and then I think there might have been an RCI as their second recommended, the median U-turn.
Yeah.
And that's nothing compared to what they were projecting at 205. Apparently they don't know what a hospital looks like, or that you might need access.
Yeah. One of the recommendations at 205, or not recommendations, one of the scenarios did include an interchange, but that was very high cost and relatively low benefit. I think
It still took out the Bowen Center. The Bowen Center was right in the middle of the ramp.
I did not notice that one yet. Okay. 9, I think, was expected some sort of interchange, and 109 same thing, and Lincoln Way is primarily some sort of cutoff, whether it be median or overpass and so on. So those were all pretty much expected, those 3.
The challenge with Lincoln Way is that they did kind of try to coordinate Whitley West and Lincoln Way, which they put in the Columbia City segment. But for like the expressway options, they didn't include a new interchange west of Columbia City like the county's plan included, because they assumed there would be some sort of access at Lincoln Way. And they recommended those options, but then for Lincoln Way, they recommended the option of an overpass skipping Lincoln Way access, assuming there was going to be a new interchange west of Columbia City, but they didn't recommend that option. So the options didn't line up as to access west of the city. So that's it, I think, in the way. I have to read the mayor's draft letter.
Yeah, as do I. Speaking of Lincoln Way overall, as we've talked about before, and as was brought up the rezoning, Lincoln Way at a local level, now that we have some guidance from NDOT and some recommendations with the study, we have to start pushing forward with what the heck is Lincoln Way going to be when it grows up. And Redevelopment Commission, since it's on the boundary of the TIF district, you guys will have a significant amount of influence on what that looks like. The amount of traffic that will be generated in the TIF district areas is going to be very important. And is this going to be a 3-lane arterial? Is it going to be a boulevarded? Is it going to be 4 lanes with divided median? All sorts of different options. I've talked about it before, but now that we have more of a direction, we need to start really looking at this. So our recommendation is going to be at some point in the foreseeable future, next year or two, actually doing a thoroughfare plan that complements whatever NDOT is doing. So we get that recommendation, we can start building towards it, and land uses can start aligning with that thoroughfare as well. So transportation drives land use as well. It may involve Kosciuszko County and Allen County. It could be other things to be decided, but that will need to be done for everybody's sake.
Good. Better we work on it than if they put up something we don't want.
Exactly, that's going to be the worst case scenario. We get NDOT going off one direction, we get a viable lead going off in another direction, our plan's somewhere in between, and none of them line up, and then everybody's spending months trying to figure it out. It's best to get everybody aligned as much as possible to start with.
Was there an interchange option presented for Larwill?
Yes,
If
the,
not-
the two, so they had, generally they had what they call a quadrant interchange and a diamond interchange. So I think we all know what a diamond interchange looks like. The quadrant was basically, you have your overpass, and then you have kind of two dog legs coming off that then separate out. Both of them were slightly to the west of Larwill, and kind of had an off ramp to the north and west that kind of went around the houses into the wooded area, and then the quadrant one kind of went back and paralleled the railroad to go back to 5. The diamond actually skipped downtown Larwill and cut straight to where 5 turns. You know, when it comes in north and then it goes to the east, it just kind of intersected right there and cut off that leg of 5 that goes into downtown.
Okay.
So those are the two options. As far as impacts to properties and environmental resources, they had some rough numbers in there, but that's the next step.
And I think that's going to be an important one where our development areas are going to really drive which decision is made there, because as we have the TIF district on west of Larwill, large amounts of open area for development, if we really want to promote that and say there will be development here, that probably makes one of the overpass options way more viable, feasible, than trying to keep it all within Larwill.
Anything else on that? Dale, got anything lined up to walk through?
Not really. I mean, we could, if you wanted to, go to IMP, Indiana Materials, because they're getting ready, I guess, to do an expansion. They keep talking about it. Have you guys reviewed anything in your office?
Are they the ones on the south side of Rail Connect?
Correct.
Yes, we've reviewed stuff.
Okay.
They've submitted a development plan.
But, I mean, it's sort of interesting. Abed likes talking about it, so.
Professor?
Yeah.
Triad there on Rail Connect's also extending their lot, just their exterior lot north of their building. They're expanding that. That's not exciting.
Yeah, they've been talking about that for 6 years, I think, and they're finally got a contractor who, I think they actually have a contract with finally. I've talked to several. Looking at what time of year it is, it's not in either of their TIF districts, but Artistic Holiday Design would be a cool walkthrough for South Whitley.
Yeah. If you've got somebody in particular, I can see about lining it up, but I just, don't have
Okay.
anything.
Well, we'll see when, still I get 5-star, or 5-star. Yeah, we need to get to
Yeah.
5-star.
Yeah.
The end of the 5-star tours usually walk out with something.
Yeah, the red stars.
Oh, Red Star.
Red
Yeah,
Star.
I'm sorry.
Get
Yeah,
back on
okay.
track. But I know they haven't really started moving anything over yet, but
Okay.
they did move some of their parked cars over across the road now on their
Okay.
property. But anything else on that?
No.
Okay, miscellaneous matters.
Reminder that we will have the underlying taxing units presentation at the next meeting, the first meeting in December. So I'll be sending out notices for that meeting. That's the annual presentation covering our finances and expectations and so on. And since we adopted our spending plan last meeting, that'll be part of the discussion.
Yeah, what's the date again?
That would be December 10th. And looking at it, I believe our second meeting in December is scheduled for the 23rd because Christmas Eve would get in the way otherwise. If we need to have a second December meeting, we can figure out whether the 23rd actually works or not when we determine whether there's need.
Dale, you have anything on
No.
matters? Okay, we'll go to claims.
Do have one, this is from Union Township for the fire department. They've got several different capital things in there, including covering part of the purchase of a fire truck, which replaces one that was damaged. I don't remember one, but one that was damaged. So the grand total comes to our agreed upon $100,000.
Is that a yearly, we have to approve that yearly for their money that we give them?
Correct. Yeah. By the way we've done it before, you've requested invoices to show what it's being spent on. At one point that was monthly and that was backed off just to be whenever things accrue, and so the trustee's done that now.
Okay. The invoice is for the Union Township Fire Department. There are invoices here that total the $100,000 distribution that we have approved.
You're the expert.
Okay.
What would the commission like to do as far as the claim?
I think they've met the requirements that we asked for, so I move that we approve this
Okay,
invoice from Union Township Fire Department for the $100,000.
got a first, is there a second?
I'll second.
First and second, any further discussion? There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All of them opposed, the same. Let it show that it passed. Okay, we got a couple previous meeting minutes that we gotta go through. Thinkers. We're back to October the 29th of 2023,
Stop it.
2024.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the October 29th, 2024 redevelopment commission minutes as presented.
Okay, we have a first. Is there a second?
Second.
We're saying further discussion. There being none, all in favor, raise your right hand. All them opposed, the same.
I was not present, so
Okay, let it show that Frank was not here. November the 12th, 2024. Minutes.
I reviewed them and subject to a change that I suggested to Brent. I make a motion that we accept the minutes,
With the change,
just the spelling of
Yeah.
intention.
okay?
Second.
Got a first and second. Any further discussion? There being none, go for the vote. All in favor, raise your right hand. All of them opposed, the same. Let's show that passed. Anybody in the audience have anything? Jill?
Just that we're gonna move ahead with the purchase of that property on Radio Road. So we're excited to be able to put to use a building that's been kind of neglected for a while and move forward with our career and technical education program.
Okay. Anything else?
I have a
Mike?
question on this 600 East connection. Have we got any information on that? Nothing?
No, I have not had a chance to look at it.
Okay.
I'll try to get something put together for the 100 South project
Sure.
first. And then
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
John?
Nope.
Teresa?
Nothing.
Frank?
no, sir.
Nathan?
Nothing more.
Brent, you got anything? Dale? Nothing? I have nothing, so we'll stand adjourned.
Thank you, Andy.
No problem. Don't get comfortable in my chair there, Dale.